Hola community, welcome to BlenderToday Live. We're streaming from a very hot Amsterdam and Europe in general. So beware, stay in, chill, get some drinks and blend away. Today, I mean, I say this, it seems like I say this every week, but today we have so many long awaited changes. We have performance improvements. We have, like, since this week, Vulkan is now the default. So when you open Blender on Windows or Linux, you're gonna get Vulkan by default. So you don't have to set it up anymore. It's still, you can still go back to OpenGL, of course, but the fact that it is default, it means that it's gonna be exposed to many more people, which means we're gonna get a ton of bug reports. But hey, that's great. Then let's what else is it's new? There is a whole bunch of new nodes. There is a Compositor is getting a feature for performance and playback of animation that we've been waiting for ever since the first time, for 20 years actually. That's how old the Compositor is. 2005-6. Then there are changes that make Blender work on bigger productions like cycles, especially. There are improvements to cycle shaders. There are the sequencer has I'm not gonna spoil. Okay, let's just move. No spoilers, but it's a great show. I didn't do this great show on Tuesday. I couldn't, but I did add it. So I'm gonna share everything that's new up until Thursday. So next week next time we might have a few less. So a few things that changed since last time. Somebody mentioned that, hey, I say let's meet at 5, but yeah, what is 5? So I added the times also to the description, so you can know when it's gonna be in your city. Then I have a couple of announcements, and then there is also a few changes that I did on the way I take some of these highlights, especially that have to do with the grouping. So you might see less sections, but it's actually also many features. But yeah, it's like 500 commits. So first, announcements. There's two things to announce. First is the this year is the celebration of 20 years of open movies. These projects that push Blender's capabilities and things that it can do and it cannot do as well. It's for 20 years. Like Elephant's Dream came out in 2006. So since then, the studio, the Blender Studio, also Blender Institute, also we went through many names, has released 17 projects. There is a blog post about it by Anastasia and Francesco that cover this, and it's just a bit of a memory lane of all the projects, and then it goes a bit into, okay, what is what can we do after, right? Like, what is the present and what can we do afterwards? How can we, improve on this? Then and then this is key. So there is a video announcement coming, like an actual proper announcement coming. I'm just doing a quick pass here, but if I want you to take something key from this message, is this: Blender Studio. We want to make a shared reference out of an open documented feature scale production for everyone to learn from, reuse, or build on. You heard that right. Blender Studio at the moment has the Blender Studio Tools and Blender Studio Pipeline, which is a documentation and tools that allow you to reproduce what the studio does here for the short films. Some projects are bigger than others, but it's really all short films. Blender Studio wants to take this to the next level and work on a feature film. The documentation for it, the tools for it, and the improvements to Blender will be shared as usual as open source, fully open source. So it is one of this. It may sound familiar if you're even in the community for a while, right? We did this. We tried to do this before with Cosmos Laundromat and with HN327 in 2017. It didn't work out. It's complex, but it's been a while. It's been almost 10 years since the last time we tried. Blender is in a better place. The Blender community is also in a better place, way bigger because of many reasons. The pandemic brought many people. 2.8 Blender 2.8 happened since the last time Blender attempted to make a feature film. So yeah, a lot has changed. So what if, geometry nodes happened also since then. I don't know, so many things. So this is very exciting. I'm very excited about it. You can read about it, but also the basically try to make focus in the human-made content that can stand out in the sea of remakes and generative visual noise. This is also very important. I'm going to share it with you so you can read it later, but there is so much so much nice to look forward. So yeah, focus on human content, real storytelling that can push Blender and can put Blender on the map. In some maps, it's in some maps, it needs to be in other maps. So that is the big thing of Blender Studio. If you're a Blender Studio subscriber, you're supporting this. So go leave a comment, share your thoughts. Basically, we are asking for if you believe in this too, and share your feedback on Blender Studio. If you're a Studio subscriber, if you're not yet, then you can join and help make this happen. Also, related to that, another big announcement from the studio. Well, it's not an announcement yet. This is a sneak peek of what is going to be announced, I think, tomorrow or soon. The Studio Vault. This is only for subscribers, but this is, well, you should watch this video. The team does an introduction, but it's basically a website where you can get everything. You can get everything. It's called a vault because it has from the files, from the videos, the sources. One of the criticisms to the Blender Studio website or the old Blender Cloud website was that it's hard to browse. It's hard to find things, hard to find files, right? I want to download the entire Sintel or the entire, Wing It, Charge. How can I do it? Well, before you have to send an email, or you could get some individual files, but there was no like a single place. So we heard you, and there is now a complete dump of the whole data organized in folders for even the frames. Like say you want Big Bug Bunny, you like frame number 500. Well, now you can actually go and get the frame 500. The UI is still in progress. There's no search yet, and there is no pagination. It's also a bit clunky. So this will get better, but at least you know that if you want anything, you want the files. Like for example, the latest Open Movie project, which is Singularity, you can get it in full 4K final HDR stereo in the full thing, the full video, and that is not available yet. So it's 4K, and then what else do you well, everything, all the files, everything, sources, the snapshot, the SVN, 15 gigabytes is only for Singularity. That's nice, all the files. So yeah, now the studio actually living up to their name. Nice. I'm reading your comments here. Super nice. Let's see. But yeah, the vault is pretty exciting because it's basically all raw data. Like if you look at it, it's really ugly because it's basically browsing a folder. Spring also. How big is Spring? Like the SVN. Oh, 185. No, this is all with the all history. So what you actually want is the 25 gig one. This is a snapshot. This is a capture. This is the full repo with the history. So all the files, like if the character got updated 100 times, you'll get 100 characters. So maybe you don't want that. Anyway, that's it for the announcements of this week. This is under subscriptions, under the 10-11 euro per month subscription, but you can get a 1 month subscription, download everything, please don't do it, and then cancel, please don't do it. But yeah, you can if you want to. Or get together with a friend, do 5 on 5, and then okay, let's download it and share. But please do it. Anyway, let's see. Let's see what is new in Blender today. For animation, there is a number of changes. Actually, there is many fixes, like 300 fixes, more than usual. but yeah, that's basically because there were a few there is a few techniques to find more bugs that the developers were running recently, which is having scripts to automate running all kinds of operators with all kinds of settings in the weirdest context. So you can run an operator with a mesh without vertices, and then you will find a crash, and then this would be fixed. So that's how you can address many fixes, issues that people sometimes run into, sometimes they don't run into. But let's see. So for A animation, there is one change that exposes the align to transform orientation option to armature pose mode. So this operator is now available in armature pose mode. Edit mode has some additional quirks, which is why it's currently not exposed there. Nice. This also renames the existing align bones to operator to better clarify what it aligns to. So with the other two align operators. Let's A for assets. There's a number of changes in assets. By the way, I also updated the script. Little disclaimer here. Last episode, I did mention one or two changes that actually got reverted, and they were, so that means that I saw the change, I announced it here, and then later on there was a revert section that I didn't check. And I forgot, I missed it, and then there were some changes that got reverted. One of them is actually back, so we'll see. But yeah, that can happen. I updated the script thanks to Nika's suggestion. So now the reverted changes will not show up, should not show up. At least from what I tested, should not show up. So that's better. Asset, show banner in asset browser when the online access is disabled. So I think this is one of the ones that got added back. So it's basically in the asset browser, in the top of the asset browser, you will see this. You will see me sneeze if I can. Oh, I couldn't. In the asset browser, if you're browsing online assets and your internet access is disabled, you're gonna get now a little extra bar here on the top that it's more compact than the usual thing, and it tells you that, hey, internet access is disabled, so you're only seeing what is available offline. If you want to give internet access, you can do it from here, from one click, and then Blender will fetch the assets and show you online assets as well. This is based on user feedback, apparently, because yeah, sometimes maybe you said once at some point, hey, no, continue offline. And then, hey, where are my online assets? So this is a way to get that information, to know about that, what's going on. Then I think I complained about this in the last live stream. There was a warning icon next to the assets that I was browsing, and I didn't know why. So now there is a reason why. So leaving mouse over here, you're gonna get a message saying why it's why do you see this error icon. So in this case, this asset was previously downloaded, but it is outdated or it is inconsistent. Downloading it again is recommended. Hey, so nice. In blood red, so you know what you're getting into. No, that's the reason why something is disabled. It's not an error. Oh, this is nice. We've never seen something like this actually in the asset browser before, or anywhere in Blender, that you draw, like that you mouse over the, actually I can maybe show you here, right? So I do have internet access on, I believe, and there is a bug that I need to report because I've been running into this issue that the sidebar sometimes goes full width. I don't know if you run into that issue. Let me know, but I haven't yet. So let's see if I have internet access on. I do. And my asset libraries, I am including online asset essentials. So I should see in the asset browser or on the asset shelf as well that the assets that are online should have a little online icon there on top. And I think I've spotted here. Nice. Do you see it? It's very subtle. Let me make the UI slightly bigger for you. Slightly, and proceeds to make it twice as big. There you go. So do you see this nice little symbol here? It's a way to... All these brushes, I never seen them before. These are new. The colors are a bit ugly, but what is this? I think these are the assets from Grease Pencil, no? Grass. Scatters grass blades, some hue and value variation. But it doesn't specify that it's Grease Pencil. Maybe... I'm not gonna get... maybe... Oh, would it be a good idea to show in the tooltip the catalog where it belongs? Because now I don't know where is this comes from, but probably is from Grease Pencil. Yeah, so it is Grease Pencil. So maybe it would make sense. What do you think? Anyway, now you can click on this guy and it will download it and then it goes away. So it's pretty nice. Very, very, very subtle. It's also because basically before this, it would, if you would drag it here, it would tell, hey, asset needs downloading first. Yeah, so how do I download it? So you have to right click, download assets, but now you can just click in the arrow down. And that is all. That's all for this section. Let's go to the next section, which is Compositor. In the Compositor, there are a number of new nodes and, well, what I spoiled at the beginning. So let's see. The Compositor now has support for the compare node, has been ported over from geometry nodes. The node currently ignores the alpha during color comparisons, and we might want to change this to be more useful in the Compositor in the future, if agreed with by the geometry nodes module. Why if agreed? Make it more useful in the Compositor. If the Compositor team agrees. And it's usually the same people anyway. It's a small family Blender. We all belong to... many of us belong to multiple modules. So, same thing. Alright. Float to integer node has been ported from geometry nodes into the Compositor. And the star... Well, one of the many stars of the show today is playback cache in the Compositor. That alone, that is huge. I've had this many people requesting me, studios, people making VFX, and yeah, so this is very straightforward how it works. So it basically the setting, you can find it in the Compositor sidebar. If you have a compositing setup under performance, then you will see cache frames. So this cache the result of the interactive Compositor across frames. With interactive, I don't know, I'm not sure about calling it interactive Compositor. They're all interactive, right? So it's referring to this Compositor, the editor itself, not the viewport Compositor or the sequencer Compositor. But yeah, once you enable this setting, Blender will start caching. So if you run an animation and you have some setup here, you have something, then you will see in the cache area that there should be a new Compositor option here that allows you to see the cache. I don't have much here yet, so we can look at the video by Omar, the developer. So you just press, you see the tiny over there, you see like a tiny little purple line, that is a cache. So you can see that when you change a value in a node, it clears the cache, and then you press space to or playback, and it starts caching as it plays, and the next time will play as quick as it possible because it has been cached. So nice. Let's see. Yes. Oh, another detail that is important to know is that the memory that it uses, like the memory cache limit, is the same as used in, well, the one in the preferences that you already know and love. This affects only the viewport compositor, not this, only the interactive, so offline, like the one there, the old one, and not the viewport or VSE compositors, sequencer compositors. That's it. That's it. Let's see. It sounds like I cursed, but I didn't. That's it, and that's, you know, improved GPU playback performance. So this not only there's playback caching makes it faster, but playback in general is now faster because of this change by Omar. So this change makes GPU playback performance faster, particularly for EXR sequences. This change makes it so something that used to be at 6.5 frames per second, now it goes all the way up to 19, if possible, with some changes. But this PR in particular, I think is 14.5. Then the other one, I don't know if it's a comparison with things that could come later to do. Maybe yes. So let's stick with this number for now, which is the one from this PR. But the thing is that there is another PR, another change that is related that makes it even faster. So maybe they are related. 6.5 to 14.5. So more than twice. I'll take it. Awesome. Oh, this is the copies. Avoid copies. This other PR that made CPU playback of 4K EXRs, something that used to take 11, that used to run at 11 frames per second, is now 16. So it got faster, and then it got faster error. Awesome. Nice. So much nicer. I mean, that combined with cache is like, boom, nice. Let's see. What else? No, that's it with the compositor. Actually, we can do to C for core, and this change is hard to describe, but basically it makes big production files run better or run at all. Something that it would crash or just not work in some cases now does. Very complex files. So let's see what the definition is. So this is by Brecht. Core, increase maximum number of open file handles. So whenever you run a render, for example, or cycles runs a render, it opens files, like it gets textures, it gets Alembic files, it gets your caches, it tries to do many things at once. Texture caching was making this even more, it was the fact that for each texture you have more versions of it, then it means that you are basically opening more files at the same time. The limit for this on Windows used to be 512, on Mac OS 256. On Linux, it's usually a very high number. That's why you may have not noticed this on Linux. This PR makes it so the limit is now 8,192 across all platforms. So if you run, no matter where you run it, it should work fine. This is commonly done on VFX software. Nice. Blender VFX software. So Cycles limits itself to 128 file handles, but there is no limit on cache file data blocks. So the production file in the report had 480 open files handles for Alembic, and it was already near the limit on Windows, but that shouldn't be the case anymore. So basically it means that you could render and you would find some things missing, like without cache and then with cache. One without cache. So with cache you will see missing objects. Sorry, not the missing objects, missing textures. So you see here it's pink, which is not good. Although to me, if you ask me, this actually looks cooler. But yeah, if you had issues with that, please update and test it, because Blender now should handle all your complex scenes. And speaking of complex and cycles, let's see for cycles. And the feature we just had, the new feature that we just had a few, what was it, weeks back, the thin wall now is much better for glass. I mean, this commit looks very small. Improve smooth thin glass shadow. Cool. And then like a one-liner. But look at the pictures. Look at the before and after. Before thin glass, after thin glass. So basically it works now. And it calculates, even you can tell that the reflections of the glass in this case are more, well, they're more visible. They were there, but they're very subtle. You can even see it in here at the bottom. Nice. So yeah, bad glass, good glass, thanks to the improvements to thin film in the transparent BSDF. Awesome. Awesome. Nice. Is this 5. Oh yeah, this is for 5.2 even. Yay. This is not 5.3. We keep getting new features in 5.2. Sneaky. Well, I mean, the feature is new in 5.2, so it makes sense. Awesome. Let's see. Oh, again, another one of those changes that make Blender run, in this case cycles, open all files, not crash, not overflow, not run out of memory. Actually, EEVEE also has an improvement in this case. You know how you have a limit of 8. Spoiler alert. Let's talk about cycles. We're talking about cycles. In cycles, there used to be cases where you some renders, even some really old reports from like 2013. So cycles was like 2 years old, 1.5. Something that used to take, well, let's look at the comment. Reduce SVM stack usage with improved node schedule. So basically, there has been some improvements in how Blender cycles handles SVM stacking shaders. So shader virtual. When cycles renders, it takes all the shaders and it makes a little mapping that is easier to process. And that was not very efficient. So if your scene wasn't efficient and cycles made it even worse, then you could run into running out of the allowed, or the amount of shaders that you would have available. So in this case, for example, some old files now have a reduced number, so that means that it should be more optimized, but in some cases where it would even overflow completely, now it's reduced to 75 SVM, so shaders. Some cases where it will be like apparently volumetric group nodes math was calculating 237 shaders, and now it's down to 87. So it means you can actually, on all the files, so nice that Brecht is just testing even files that are 13 years old, 10, 11 years old. In cases where it would overflow in the past, now it actually works and opens. So super, super nice. Let's see. The raycast visibility toggle is now available for cycles. This used to be an EEVEE only feature, but now, thanks to Miguel, it's now available on cycles. And when in the preferences, when some devices are not compatible with the drive, or so have outdated drivers, they will be grayed out now. So I think there's a picture somewhere here. Yeah. So if you're using Intel graphics and the drivers are out of date, they don't match with the ones you have on your system, this will be grayed out. I think, well, no, there is a message here, and the message actually shouldn't be grayed out. Selecting the graph should be grayed out, but the message about what you need to do should be full color. Alert even. I would draw it in red, I think. Yeah. Anyway, now you know. Let's move into default Deps dependencies. Why are we talking about dependencies? Well, we're talking about it because of corruption. There is corruption in the images when using Open Image Denoiser on a MacBook or a Mac M5 Pro and F5 Max, which at the moment is only MacBooks, but in the future probably Mac Minis are going to have it. And anyway, yeah, there was something weird going on with Open Image Denoiser that I was having like black dots in the render when using one of these computers, an M5 Pro on M5 Max. This has been fixed by updating Open Image Denoiser to the latest version. So this is also in 5.2, right? This should be in 5.2. Yeah, release. So this will be improved. This will render better in 5.2 LTS. Okay, E for EEVEE. There are many changes in EEVEE. Well, many as 3. How many do you need to be many? More than 2. But otherwise it's a couple. So many changes. The first one being shader to RGB alpha is now consistent for all pipelines, and it allows correct alpha for shadows in cases where you would have no shadows, or where you would have shadows in 4.0.3, fine. And the principal BSDF also will have shadows. In this case, like Blender 4.0, 4.1, actually before even next. And then you do a setup with shader to RGB, then you would have no shadows. Why? What's that? Now they're back. Shadows. You can have shadows now. It will be calculated properly. And this is what I was talking about before. The limit of 8 attributes per material when using EEVEE has been lifted. There's no limit. The sky is the limit. It made sense before 4.2, so for EEVEE Legacy, EEVEE the previous one, but since EEVEE Next, the attributes are actually stored into an SSBO without per object padding requirement. So nice. Is this 5.2? Yes, it is 5.2. That's so cool. I thought it was only 5.3 and I was feeling a bit sad. It's like, oh man, you know, it's an LTS. Would be nice to be able to have more than 8 attributes per material in EEVEE. But now you can. 5.2. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Yes, party emoji. And love emoji. Oh, so cool. EEVEE. I hope EEVEE... I hope Blender 5.2 is the release where many people who were not changing from EEVEE Next, EEVEE Legacy to EEVEE Next since 4.1 are now being like, okay, you know, it's maybe time to switch to 5.2, to the EEVEE Next and try to update the whatever update needs to be done. Also the team managed to get the bug reports below 100. There is no high priority bug reports, and the bug reports there used to be like 500 and now there is less than 100. So that's good. Oh, also completely, well, not completely unrelated, but the demo files in blender.org now have they have been updated. The EEVEE one, there's a few ones that have been updated. The Tree Creature, the Wanderer, also by Daniel Bystedt, they have been updated for Blender 5.2 LTS, and one other one. Oh, there were 2 splash screens which also were not running very well. I think it was the Fox by Daniel Bystedt too, and the Red Autumn Forest. This one has been updated a few days ago. So if you had issues running this, basically this would look very different in EEVEE Next compared to EEVEE since 4.2 compared to the previous EEVEE. So nice that these things get updated, you know. Blender developers have your back. They fix Blender, they fix the renders, and they fix the demo files that the community provides. The last change I would like to mention is that EEVEE now supports normal map node base option, which was only supported by cycles at the moment. And if I'm not wrong, this also sneakily made it into Blender 5.2 LTS. Nice, because it's a feature that was added to cycles, I think for 5.2, right? Which makes sense to, yeah, not have a one release that is one supported, one is not. But 5.2 is So good. All right, let's see what else. for extensions, there is one extension change here that, yeah, so it's related to what I showed at the beginning with assets, that the asset browser now has a notice when you went offline. When you said, oh, continue offline, and then you go into the browser browsing online assets, you don't see any online asset, and you get the notice about it that you can switch to online mode. The same here, based on user feedback. Apparently, the if you were, I don't know, Blender 4.2 when online access for online extensions was added, maybe you turned internet off back then, 4.2, like 2 years ago, and then you forgot about it, and now you want online access for the online assets, then it means that Blender will reset that flag, and the continue offline flag will be reset when you disable online access, basically. So if you click it on it again, you get basically the notice. You're gonna see this more often, not as often as like every time. It's not gonna be bothering you, but you will. But remember that if you really don't want to see the online, like, oh, you want to go offline fully, well, fully as in at least in what Blender can handle within its capabilities, there is a flag that you can run Blender in the terminal with offline, like force offline, or look up the help. There is a flag that you can run on that. So if you have a studio where you don't want your you have a studio and you don't want people to go online or to be shown these things, you can run a flag. That's it. Okay, let's get to it. How's the chat going? Is there any spam yet? Let's go to F for file browser, and a number of changes related to user interface, to shortcuts. So the new folder shortcut in Blender in the file browser used to be I. So this is a change basically that makes it so you can use Control or Command Shift N instead, because it's way more standard, and it's just strange, right? Just to press I for what? For insert? For this is standard with file browsers and with other operating systems too. Related to that, a number of shortcuts have been added, not replaced. So the create folder has been replaced, but then a number of shortcuts have been added to the existing ones. So for example, you can refresh the file browser by pressing R, but now you can also refresh it with Control R, which is what you would press in any other, like Command R in any other file browser. The same with Select All. You can press A to select all, or Control A. Parent, you can, what was it? The P for parent, I think. You can do Control Up. Hidden, show hidden, you can do Control H, Control Shift dot, Command Shift dot on Mac. Previous and next, Control square brackets. Then the space, the display type, also Control 1, 2, and 3 is going to change how you preview in the file browser. So if I open the file browser here, maybe here, let's see, and I do 1, 2, 3, Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, you can change the preview mode with a shortcut. Nice. So yeah, this is an effort to make the file browser a bit more standard in terms of shortcuts, because it's not really standard the way Blender handles shortcuts there and many other things, but shortcuts are they get on the way of other features. Having single letter shortcuts like we had in the past with I for folders or X for delete, it's pretty convenient, but you know, X, you can press it by mistake, and does Blender warn you about it before deleting a file? Let's see. So this is my file. I'm gonna press X. Oh yeah, it asks you. Okay, cool. But anyway, you can also press delete and not having to run that. And two small things. Their context menu now shows the the icons that are in the toolbar, so it's you can make the connection, so back, forth, parent, new folder, and delete. Then also one item that I noticed while looking at it, while doing this, was that the show hidden entry was missing from the menus. So in the file browser, you when you open it from the view menu, so for example, if you open it if you have a file browser that in the, I think the video editor has one, right? Yeah, you have the view menu, show hidden now, so you can see hidden folders. Let's see, what else? Bunch of fixes. So many fixes. Too hot for spamming today. It's in the chat. Yeah. Nice. So all good. All the comments are good. I haven't keeping an eye on it, sorry. But I hope it's good. I see you guys and girls hanging out there, so it's cool. It's so warm here that I keep drinking mate because you gotta stay hot from the inside as well. Geometry nodes has so many new nodes this week. So many new nodes. So in geometry nodes, we have Grease Pencil input nodes, a number of nodes that have been added by Quackaruni. These 6 nodes are input nodes, such as you get the Grease Pencil color, opacity, for point or fill strokes. Then draw time, you get time, creation time, and delta time, pencil and Grease Pencil fill ID, stroke visibility, and stroke softness also as a field. A bunch of these nodes are very, very useful to make crazy things with Grease Pencil and geometry nodes, such as one of the projects of the Blender Lab. Remember the Blender Lab? Yep, Clay Pencil is one of the projects, and it is being worked on. It's still under an early stage of, well, Quackaruni is actually working on it. 1 hour ago, he made a commit. But yeah, this is still in early stage. There is I think week 2 or week 3. So still design and fixes and so on. Not much onto features yet, but it's out of about 8 weeks, I believe. So Clay Pencil might come. It's a lab project, so, but the idea is that it will come in Blender 5.3, 5.4 when it's ready, but soon it will come Blender native. That's the idea. If you're not familiar with Clay Pencil, we actually should have some information here. We don't have any information. This is the most, I mean, we have the, yeah, that's true. That's a pity. We're linking to a place that has no, it's not very sexy. There's no links to anything. But you've probably seen this. There's been a few Blender conference talks about it. So basically, this is what you draw, and this is what Blender makes for you on the fly as you draw. It makes a 3D version, mesh version of your strokes by using geometry nodes, converting them on the fly as you draw. It's so cool. It's very innovative. I haven't seen this in many other places, and the fact that Blender has both systems, because this is animated, right? This is Grease Pencil. You can animate like this and make this. So cool. But yeah, actually, I will ask the guys to maybe add some information here, populate the README, so with links to the conference talks and things to get people excited about it. Even a description is not there. So yeah, I will ask them. But for now, thank you, Quackaruni, for so many new nodes. Not only that, there's also nerves input nodes that have been added. This exposes the nerves order and nerves weight attributes of the nerves curves to geometry nodes 2 weeks ago. Nice. So cool. Nerves. What does nerves stand for? Let's see in the chat. Another new node this week is the deactivate voxels node. It allows you to deactivate any active voxel or tile where the selection input field evaluates to true. So it allows you to do things like this, I would assume. Yep. So you pass on a number of points and it will deactivate those. It's like deletion, but not deleting, is it? Nice. Takes a grid and a selection. Let's see. Then grid topology Boolean node, another new node that gives you grid topology Boolean. So you can pass on to, oof. Yeah, I guess that's how they look. Sorry, that was my reaction when I saw the Rubik cube extended. Should it be 1, 2? Should it be 8 points instead of like stretched out? Maybe. I don't know. It looked weird at first, but anyway, you get a grid. Yeah, booleans, basically difference, union, and intersect. Oh, nice. Someone found out naturally uncooperative ridiculous Bezier splines. That's perfect. Actually, you nailed it. That's what nerves mean. Let's go. Next. No new nodes, but improvements to existing nodes. So drag to search visibility for the index switch node by Brady Johnston. Let's see. Currently, only the index input for the index switch node is available to for drag to search. This PR allows for linking to the index 0 value for the switch and selection of compatible data type. This and a similar change was for the repeat zone. Drag to search visibility for repeat zone. Previously, when using drag to search, you could only create the zone with the socket connected as the first item. This exposes the iterations input, creating a zone with no items added yet. Ah, that's nice. Yeah, because you couldn't connect it before. It would be empty. Now you can. Yay, cool. Nice. So basically it exposes in search these two repeat and iterations, so you can start right away. Neat. Quality of life improvements. What else? The last one by Eric adds, oops, it's broken. There is a commit that doesn't exist. Why? Why did it break? Interesting. Okay. Well, there must be a pull request with a similar name. So I remember seeing this. So basically it was the glyph here. I found it. So the missing glyphs in the string when using the string to curves node were not showing at all. They were empty basically. So in this case, when using a text object, Blender will draw a square when you're just typing it. Fine, great. This shows you that there's something is wrong, something is missing, but not when using geometry nodes. It would look empty. So now it shows squares in it. Yay. Awesome. So thank you, Eric Abrahamson, for your work. So nice. Quality of life again. Let's move on to the next section, which is I/O, input output, import, export. The section, this is one of the sections that I adjusted. I don't know if you noticed that I adjusted because I used to have Alembic at the beginning before anything, and then USD at the end, but they're all I/O, right? So I group all of the I/O, FBX, GLTF, everything that is its own that is related to I/O into the same category. So in this case, we have two changes for USD and one for Alembic. The USD ones are listed first because they were committed more recently. Before. USD, export normals based on Blender internal data model. This is for you game developers. Most game engines use and store normal data per point. Blender's default USD exports always converts them to phase varying corner. Always. This PR instead exports normals following Blender's internal data model like point, corner, or phase, thus making importing engines more straightforward for meshes that already use per point normals. Yay! Without having to add more conversions to it. So cool. The USD export tests also have been updated. Mark Borney, thank you so much. I haven't seen you publishing things lately. Oh wow, this is from Ubisoft. Nice. Thank you, Ubisoft. Nice. What else? So cool, Ubisoft pushing things for Blender in-game engines. Neat. The next change is also for USD. Add support for matrix attributes. Supports import and export of matrix for the primvar attribute values. The changes to no, that's it. The double precision 64-bit values from USD are converted to float 32-bit on import. Nice. Matrices. Okay, next. And last, Alembic, more Alembic changes. Import and export now supports subdivision parameters in Alembic. This commit adds support to import and export subdivision parameters for subsurface modifiers in Alembic. As Alembic is using the OpenSubDip 2.0 API to define the parameters, we need to convert them to and from OpenSubDip 3.0, which is what Blender uses. So nice. So for import, this also automatically adds a subdivision surface modifier to the meshes. That's so cool. I think it's a long requested one. People were asking for it. This I remember. So no love. What the heck? Let's give some love to this PR. Yeah, I remember people asking for this, especially also that when you import that would add subdivision surface. We export and import the subdivision levels for viewport and render. Ah, that's nice. So they get preserved when re-importing into Blender. So now you can do full cycle without losing subdivision levels for viewport and render. That's so nice. Thank you, Kevin. Dietrich. Let's see how this makes improvements in, well, in anything. In productions use Alembic all the time. All right, M4 materials. What is new in materials? Well, support remapping materials on curves and point cloud. Yep, that wasn't supported before, revamping materials on these elements. Curves and point clouds now do support it. M4 mesh, improve and simplify modifier evaluation logic. So this PR, I mainly mention it because it doesn't say it's performance improvements, but it doesn't have a number for it because it's hard to measure. However, this PR is from like 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, and it basically prevents copying meshes over and over, like internally Blender making a copy of a mesh and so on and so forth, and like removing it and making a new copy and so on when using the modifier stack, which is most of the time. So this is a part of fixing one serious issue with auto smooth modifier on complex scenes. So really welcome. Nice. It's good to see old PRs making it into Blender, especially by big developers like Hans. Next, for N4 nodes. In the nodes section, we have 2 changes. One, I don't know if I've actually never noticed, but when you use frame selected, so dot, there was an exception for single node. So when you have only one node, there was an exception that it wouldn't zoom in to that node. That's a bit silly. Apparently it's just because maybe you do it by mistake. There's no need for it. So anyway, now this has been removed, so you can zoom into individual nodes if you want to. It's good for the education also. And this one is also super nice. So this is a right click select suggestion that I remember that I ran into, I was like, hey, that looks like kind of a bug actually. It's an oversight. So the issue is the wire highlighting was limited to, well, wasn't very useful actually, because the moment you had, so this is the new Blender basically. So in the past, when I would select this node, because there is a reroute here, the highlight will get only to here, and then all of this would be not highlighted, like just full color. So, and I've never noticed. So someone on right click select pointed it out. I made a quick design task basically. So yeah, so basically this is how it used to be before. You select this node, boom, nothing else is selected, and then hey, selected. So before, after, small thing, like it looks like a small thing. I've never noticed. So yeah, thanks to that change, then we have the great Abir Devnath, who went to look at the PR and then made it, fix it. So it's even smart. So if you select a node, for example, that ends on after a tree opens, for example, in this case, if I select transform geometry, it would highlight this node, this wire, all the way back to the group input, but it will not ignore the group output. So nice. So now you will see a bit more. You should see, because everybody uses reroutes nodes, so you will see a lot more highlighting now. Yay. Let's see. Wonder how did we manage to go to live with that for so long, decades. Let's see. Oh, for outliner, you can now right click on images in the outliner and pack them all just from directly from the outliner. There's also a right click select proposal. So basically when looking on the preview, the current file, you had images here. Now yeah, for example, if you're a user, you want to pack them. How do you do it? You will have to select them and then go to the image editor, select, make it active, pack it, make the other one active, pack. Like you couldn't batch pack multiple images, and now you can. Now it works. Now Pratik made a beautiful PR that adds exactly that. The goal is to add this to multiple to all IDs that support packing. But in this case, at least for images, which is one of the biggest use cases, it now works as expected. So yeah, so it's so nice, because for example, if you have some images that don't support it, it will let you know. So if you right click pack, it tells you, hey, I cannot pack render result or viewer image nodes. Cool, but I managed to pack one. Actually, it tells you here at the bottom. I don't know if you get to see it, but it tells you packed one images into the blend file. It should say image, but it's just, why would you, such a small thing? No need to count, do all kind of maths just to say image or images. It only works in English anyway, or some other languages, but not in all languages. So yeah. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for that change, Pratik. Let's move on to the next section, which is pay for paint. Yeah, there is two changes in paint this week that I wanted to share, that it has to do with performance. And I'm happy to announce that, because last episode there were people asking about, yeah, performance, painting is slow. Well, try again, because these changes, one, improves basically multi-threading when painting. So in some cases can be so much faster, depends on your computer. But on a test with a Suzanne mesh of a 31,000 polygons and a 4K texture, something that used to take 678 milliseconds, now is 380 milliseconds. So 43% faster to update painting. Nice. And also related to that, there is another step that has been updated, and that it in some cases is 25% of reduction time on a Suzanne mesh, also with a 4K texture attached, and the same Suzanne but with 3 subdivision level modifier applied. It's about 19% faster. So nice. So you basically have a faster Blender in many areas since this week. So cool. So cool. Imagine which software you updated every week, and then it becomes faster and faster. So nice. Also, I mean, every week if you want to get the latest, which also might make things slower. So a little caveat there. Maybe stick to updating when the official release comes out, which is every 4 months. But hey, if you want to live on the edge. P4 Python, there is one tiny addition that allows you to set the initial height for text boxes, like the ones that were added recently for VSE, for the sequencer text strips, for example, or the string node in geometry nodes that also allows to set the initial height. That's mainly if you want to use it on add-ons. It's like specifying rows in UI lists. Same use case. Okay, let's see what else is new. In U4 user interface, I have a number of changes. Actually, not that many. And some of them are small, you know, like icons. Icon changes are still important, but they are minimal. So in this case, there's a few menus that were missing the delete and duplicate icons. So now things are a bit more consistent thanks to Ethan. Then the asset menu in the asset browser was only showing up if, well, first it only showed up if it was enabled with post library add-on, which is it's internal, but if you were not using it, then it wouldn't show up. Strange. But also there's new options that show up in there. So yeah, you can create well, you can access open blend file, open file logins, things you can do on right click on the active element. Now you can also do it here. So nice. A new asset menu in the asset browser. Then text boxes, when disabled, when not active, they can now be scrolled and resized. It's a bit of maybe a leftover. Is it in 5.2? It is in 5.2. Good, nice. Next, the project icon in here, when you go to edit project setup, it's new. It has been changed. The previous design was a bit too similar. This is the project icon, and this used to be the desktop icon. The problem is that sometimes you would see these two together. So the idea behind this, the project icon was like, okay, maybe it's like post-its in a whiteboard. However, you know, it's too similar to the desktop icon, and it can happen that in the future you will see in the system or in the file browser, you would have shortcuts, bookmarks to project, and it looked too similar to desktop. So it has been changed, designed by Harley. So super nice. Thank you, Harley, for your designs and so much more. Speaking of icons, the action constraint icon was using the wrong icon. It was using the action. Well, I'm saying so many times the word action, but basically, yeah, so it was using icon action when instead of using its own dedicated icon. So action is this icon, which is the editor icon. But constraint had its own. We were not using it. So if you notice something different, this is why. That's it. Have you ever seen this website? I don't think we ever announced it properly, but it's a website where you can check it for Blender icons, actually. So if you like some icons, you wanna remember by name, you're making an add-on or whatever, you can just use it here, or developing for Blender, you can use it here. And then you click on it, you can copy the ID or even link to this icon. So you can send it to someone and it will bring you here. That's it. Let's see. Page scroll for views. Nice. So views such as like, well, no UI list, these are the old ones. This is the new one. The list like shape keys, like any tree view, catalogs as a browser, bone collections, grease pencil layers. They now all support page scrolling, so you can go page up, page down, or home and end keys to navigate like you would expect page advanced pages. So I love it when it's all that you can do many things with the keyboard without having to rely on scrolling so much. So yeah, this is part of the tree view keyboard navigation, which is now complete actually. Up, down, left, right to navigate. Numpad period for focus on the active element. That's also wasn't there. And that's it. So this is now all there. Nice. And that's it for the UI. Let's talk about the video sequence editor, which has two changes. One, a smaller one, and a bigger one. Well, it's not so small. There's a new select all by type operator. It's actually no, it's not small at all. It's not small at all. I use that all the time in the viewport, where you can go to select by type, and then you can select all cameras, speakers, whatever, grease pencil objects, any data block type. This concept is now available in the video editor, so you can do select all by type and select, for example, scene, mask, movie. And these are two. This is special one, visual. What is visual? Well, visual is anything that is not sound, basically. So anything that you can see. Pretty nice. So basically, it's like doing select. I guess you could do the same with select all by type sound and then invert the selection, but this is more convenient. So cool. And last but not least in this beautiful editor is that we now have movie clip, mask, and text strip support of thumbnails. So this is what you will see before when you were looking at text strips, masks, and movie. The movie has thumbnails. Now you will see this. So the movie clip actually shows up, it shows you a thumbnail. Masks show thumbnail and even animate it. And the text, it actually shows a text. So let's see, do I have an asset view sequencer strip subtitles? Actually, yeah, I do have some subtitles here. Oh, now I can actually see it. Ooh, nice. I actually haven't tested it before. So there's corner style here. We should, oh nice, you can see it there. I don't think I've seen many other software that does this kind of previews. I think even some commercial software don't do previews of text here. Oh, but it also shows the content, which is a bit redundant. I don't like it. So content, not the source. The source shows the text? No. Right? No, it otherwise would be fungi in the forest. Here it is. Okay, nice. I think I did this for the demo. But so cool. So does it update as it goes? So in this, if I go, oh yeah, it does. Oh yeah, it does. Ah yeah, and the title here is so silly. It uses the content. So we actually had that before, kind of, but now it shows you the styling of it, and it works. It updates when I change the style. Yeah, it does. Neat. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Good job, Aras. And I bet it's super performant. Is it? Yes. And mask. This is also huge. Like being able to see the mask animated over time. So nice. Thank you, Aras. And that's all except this tiny little one item element that I need to show you because it is groundbreaking. Vulkan is now the default, and I mentioned this at the beginning because I couldn't hold myself, but basically Vulkan is now the default in Windows and on Linux. Windows 86, not ARM, and Linux. So that is pretty neat. This would only happens on new setups, not on existing one. It doesn't change whatever you're using. It's only for new setups. So if you run Blender with factory startup or you make new preferences, like if you have no preferences yet, it will make it, and that's how you can choose. You can select it, but you can always change it, and that's it. So congratulations, Jeroen, and the rest of the team for such a big milestone. So cool. Okay, that is all for this week. We have covered everything. Is there any questions? I forgot to make the thread, but I bet my oh, I'm not logged in. Yes, I bet the community went, and so nice. Yes, of course. Lenovo, Intel. What? So what looked like a bot, Lenovo Intel NUC, I made it. So please talk to developers about. Okay, thanks, I guess. So let me copy over the thing so it's but it is a link, it's not a post. Okay, because I want to actually share the I want to share the actual notes. So BlenderToday notes, there you go. Maybe here, notes of this, so you can actually, you know, get them and read them. So I made another thread, and I'm gonna be reading the, just so you get the notes, but I'm gonna get the mentions from here, the comments from here. So let's say all the way down here, bam. Let's see. So first question by Jack Rocky. Sorry for not saying hello last time. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm joking. Don't, please, people shouldn't take this seriously. I'm joking. Did you get any answer to the Vulkan memory issue question from last time? I gotta say I forgot about it. Sorry. What was the question again? Please, could you mention it again? Or maybe drop by the channel, the viewport and EEVEE and viewport channel, and that's directly, because if it's something more just related to Vulkan, then it's better to just ask them. People are super friendly usually. If you just drop by, ask nicely, and that's it. Second question, are GeoNode devs planning on adding texture coordinate node like in shader editor to GeoNodes anytime soon? It's currently not possible to get the workspace coordinates without having to use a position node, which doesn't work with instances. This will be really useful to have. I actually don't know. Again, this is a very specific question. I don't know if maybe a developer watching can reply on this, but yeah, it's a bit it's too specific, and I'm not sure if this particular node has any issues with the way geometry nodes work. I'll try to remember to ask them. When is Sticky GP coming out? Sticky Grease Pencil. So a studio video featuring it, and it looked so useful, but haven't heard anything since then. Sticky GP. Oh, isn't that from Cowboy? I don't think it's. No, I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm sorry. I didn't reply any of your questions. Sorry, they were very specific, and this is for Blender Studio, so I haven't. I need to ask that, guys. Sorry. Second question. Please talk to the developers about add particle system support for empty object type. No, particle system is dead. It's not gonna get It's dead. Is is end of life, which if your life is on the end, almost dead. Basically, no new features, but it will. You can do that with geometry nodes. Convert particle system to geometry. That exists already. I think. Isn't there one? I think that exists. No. Or doesn't it do it on the automatically? Like duplicate particle system, or in the node itself? And no, but there was convert. I think I remember seeing something about this from conversion. Yeah, if you have hair particles, maybe it was hair particles. Yeah, convert to curves. There you go. And then you should get curves. No, but that is making them. What was it? I don't remember. Maybe I dreamed about it, or it was something that was never finished. Compatibility of force fields with geometry nodes. Yes, well, the idea is that force fields become node groups. So you can add them to geometry nodes and use them in empties. Because empties are already force fields. So yeah, that's a goal. Next, greetings. Are there any plans for native support of Gaussian splats in Blender? Am I allowed to talk? Am I allowed to talk? This is messy, by the way. And this is a Godot drinking mate, by the way. This is, I think this needs to be shown. Look at Godot drinking mate. So nice. Today, and that's Argentina. And this is messy fading. Sorry. Yes, Gaussian splatting. Mayhaps. I have good feelings about it. That's what I can say. Hello community, says Mikel Ollier. With the introduction of lists, the import CSV file outputting a point cloud, I believe no longer makes sense. Is there any plans of revisiting and it can take advantage of lists and strings fields? Thank you everyone, and gracias Pablo. Good question actually. I don't know who like, because over time many nodes, you know, get less important or not, or less relevant, not important. So yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe you can drop by the channel, the geometry nodes channel, no, nodes on physics, and ask. And reminds me of the video by how was it? CG Matter. Have you seen it? He made, so to demo lists, he made an importer, what was it? Really long lists. No, like, where was it? He made it, or did he remove it? Flamethrowers 5 days ago. No, this one. Because he tried different names for the video. So yeah, basically yeah, he had a different name. It was like something about importing when I watched it. But basically, it wrote an importer, an OBJ importer using geometry nodes. Just a node that you can basically copy paste text. So this is a Suzanne from an OBJ file as text in a string node. And then with some magic and a huge brain, then he manages to basically build the Suzanne in a node. So yeah, so you basically have a little node there, and you can add copy paste text OBJ as text, and then it gets it. So it's an amazing use case of lists. It's just crazy that these people exist, that they know how to do all these things. It's amazing, so cool. I'm gonna share it with you. You should watch it. Like, I don't understand nothing, and then it makes it, well, actually he makes it very easy to understand. Some things are beyond, but this is actually very easy because if you think about it, yeah, okay, it makes sense. It's text, and then you deal with strings, remove some parts of it, convert it into a vector, and then the vector uses a position. It's like, makes sense. Anyway, so cool. Primitive nodes. It would be cool actually to ship Blender with that a node group with that, so you can have a Suzanne as nodes. Let's see what else. Hexbob says, "Hola Pablo, hope you're good and surviving the heat." I think I am. So far I managed a few hours. Saw the new A24 Backrooms horror movie, and I watched it too. Super nice. Which was great and has done great commercially. The director has been quite vocal about his love and use of Blender for pre-visualization. And I think even some full shots in the film. I saw some shots, and it was like, that looks like cycles. Wondering if the Blender Foundation has considered doing a case study interview with him. Could be good for some cross promo, similar to the Flow collaborations. Maybe A24 would be interested in contributing to that. That sounds good. Yes, actually, we have to get in touch with him. I think Francesco did get in touch with him already, or not? Did he? But yeah, we are aware of it. So I think it would be a good use case for the user stories on blender.org. So thank you. Next. Okay, said, "Hi Pablo, good morning. Hope you're well. I was wondering if there are any plans to redesign or improve the native quadriflow remesh function in Blender, since the results when remeshing high poly organic sculptures aren't the best. And if not, could this be a new goal for version 5.3? Oof. Haven't you seen the Kando app for Linux Pi menu? I think it's a good reference. So quadriflow remesh is not a Blender thing. It's a library. So quadriflow remesh, it's something a Blender uses, but it's an external library. So 7 years ago, it received its last change. Blender has this thing of integrating some libraries that sometimes they just, like MantaFlow was promising. Quadriflow was promising back then, Back then it was state of the art. Stanford University, look, awesome. The latest release was 2019, which is crazy that is 7 years ago. To me, it was like... So, I don't know. I wouldn't remove quadriflow. I would just leave it there because we already have it. Unless there's something that can replace it, I would look into adding something new, a new remesh function, so you can remesh, use many different algorithms, and the same way we have multiple denoisers to allow for better organic sculptures. But I don't know if there is a particular library or that is open source that can be used for that. Do you have any ideas? Do you have any open source library in mind that can help with this? All the good open source, good remeshers are unfortunately not open source. Too bad. Then, could this be a new goal for 5.3? I doubt it, because I don't think there's anybody working on it. Unless someone from the community, maybe someone that made a nice one that is non-open source, decides to make it open source and decides to help integrating it into Blender, then it could make it for 5.3. That's the beauty of open source, and not not so beauty because commercial reasons. But it could happen. Like, can't say no. Have you seen the Kando app for Linux Pi menu? Somebody shared this the other day. So it is like a Pi menus, no? Yeah, I've seen this. I like the multiple. I think adding this to Blender, like a concept like this to Blender, could be fun. I think the limitation of having of opening multiple ones, I like better than what some add-ons do, that you open the Pi menu and they have walls of buttons. So you open the menu and then you have to take a moment and look at which setting to turn on. I think that like it's like what's the purpose of a pie menu, right? Speed usually, and then you lose that speed because you have to look into this block wall of buttons. So I think the beauty of pie menus is that you can drag to execute, and this allows that. It's just a few parts of the pie menu are stored and dedicated to have another pie menu pop up. But if you can do // that would be cool. Okay. Candu is free and open source. That's so cool. Nice. Let's see. And this was already answered. So that is all for today. Thank you so much for staying until the end, for hanging out with me. And even though I was losing my voice at the very end, I hope some of the features that you've seen this week, they were of your interest and that you like them. I have, well, is it 2 weeks, 3 weeks? The next week, next week, I'm really running out of, can't speak anymore. The next BlenderToday would be the 9th of July. 9th of July, the Independence Day in Argentina, actually. That is way too close to the release of Blender 5.2. Uncomfortably close. The release of Blender 5.2 happens on the 14th of, 17th of July, right? I think 14th of July and 14th of November. Yeah, 14th of July. Wow. Yeah, so crazy. The next time we see each other, 5.2 LTS will be a few days away from release. Crazy. Do we have are we gonna have maybe a video for it? I heard Francesco maybe thinking about it and planning it. So if you're an artist, or you should make cool art, but don't consider yourself an artist, and Francesco or someone from Blender reached out to you for asking for high resolution versions of your videos, then maybe this happened many months ago, probably. Maybe you'll see your work there. We'll see how busy things get, but developers are busy enough with 5.2. So please, getting this close to release, is important that you report any bugs that you find, any issues that you find, something that you think is minimal, but it's like, I don't know, I can work around it. You know, that's another way. If you cannot help Blender financially, you can also help them with your time by reporting issues. So that's how we have a stable software for all of us. That is all. So thanks, and I will see you again, same place, same time, on a Tuesday. Remember, today was just an exception. Tuesday on the 9th, yes, of July. And that was all. Happy blending. Bye-bye. I hope it wasn't that loud. Hey, no, wait. There you go. I pressed the button to... Bye. See you. Have fun. Happy blending.